as a patient is presented with the heavy menstrual bleeding after the miscarriage, and on ultrasound there is the complex mass of 7 into 6 into 11 centimeter, and there are multiple pool of blood dilated vessel with the blood flow. But for
Hmm.
I will further evaluate my patient by taking the history.
What history points you will ask?
Yes, madam. I will ask from the patient. First of all, I will quantify this as the patient is presented with the heavy. After taking the confirmation of this details, I will further ask the patient name, her marital status, education, occupation, and her last menstrual period. Then I will inquire from the patient as the patient is presented with heavy vaginal bleeding. So first of all, I will look the status of the patient, whether she is vitally stable or not. If she will not be vitally stable, I will give call for the help, and meanwhile I will resuscitate my patient. But if she will be stable, I will further ask from the patient the duration, amount, and amount of the bleeding, whether it is associated with the heavy clot or any history of the vesicle, any fainting episode, or the history of the blood transfusion. I will further evaluate, is there any history of the fever, lower abdominal pain, or the vaginal discharge, and where the evacuation was done, how was her recovery, any notes is available or not, how the pregnancy was previously confirmed, any early scan was available to rule out whether it was an intrauterine pregnancy or any molar pregnancy. And then I will further evaluate that any complication during the procedure or afterward, any history of the blood transfusion and the complication related to the blood transfusion. I will further inquire, is there any history of the shortness of breath, chest pain, or any bleeding in the urine and sputum, any history of the heat or cold intolerance. As there is no any significant gynecological family or the genetic disease, but I will further evaluate, is there any history of the drug intake, like the anticoagulant drug therapy, rule out the allergies, and also yes. Then I will, in the examination, as the examination is already given to me, I will further evaluate the BMI of my patient and the vitals of my patient. And in the investigation, I will evaluate the baseline investigation, like the blood group and the complete blood count, as the patient is pallid, to check for the hemoglobin.
Very good. Okay, if the examination was not given, what will you look for the examination?
Yes, madam. First of all, I will check the BMI of patient. Then I will move towards the BP, pulse, temperature, respiratory rate, and also the conscious level of my patient. Then I will check for the subvital, in which I will look for the pallar joinders. And then I will proceed for the thyroid examination and any significant finding about the cardiovascular, chest, and the CNS examination. In the abdominal examination, I will look for the presence of any scar mark, any tenderness, any mass palpable, or any visceromegaly. Then in the local examination, I will look the general health of the vulva and the vagina, as she's bleeding as she came with the vaginal bleeding. I will look for the pad to see the color and the amount of bleeding. Then I will do the per speculum examination to look the status of the cervix, whether there is a presence of any lesion or any growth. Then I will also look any dilated vessels present in the vagina. Then I will do the per vaginal examination, in bimanual examination, in which I will look uterine size, its position, its mobility, tenderness, and also any pulsation felt in the uterus or in the adnexia.
Oh, very good. And what investigation you will require?
Yes, madam. First of all, I will proceed for the baseline investigation, in which I will go for the blood group, and then in complete blood count with date showing hemoglobin, total leukocyte count, and the platelet count. Then I will go for the 2-hour postprandial or the fasting blood sugar level, whichever is available. Then the mid-stream urine for the pus proteins and the ketones, and the hepatitis B surface antigen, hepatitis C, and the HIV antibody. In specific investigation, I will proceed for the beta HCG level and or the urine pregnancy test, whichever will be available. Then the pelvic ultrasound to look for the uterine size, its endometrial thickness, mobility, myoecho texture, or any uterine or the adnexal pathology, and also the Doppler ultrasound. then I will go for the spectral Doppler ultrasound if will be available for that, or the MRI.
Okay. What is the recurrence rate?
I 17%,
Yes. What is the incidence?
4.6%.
What is the management?
Yes, madam. The management depends upon the age of the patient, fertility wishes of the patient, and also the hemodynamic status site and the size of lesion, and the amount of yeah, as this so the management is divided into two parts, that is the conservative management as well as the surgical management. Keeping in mind in the scenario of my patient, as she is a para 3 plus 2, I will explain the patient the definitive management is in the form of hysterectomy, but the conservative management will be medical management, in which we will give first of all we will for control of the bleeding, we will give the 1 gram of the tranexamic acid, followed by the 1 gram of IV, followed by the 1 per oral tranexamic acid 1 gram QID for 5 days, and then we will give the oral contraceptive pill for at least 3 months. Meanwhile, we will do the ultrasound to look for the regression of this lesion. Second option will be in the form of the injection medroxyprogesterone acetate 150 milligram, followed by the progesterone for 3 months. Then third option will be in the form of in the form of the danazol 400 milligram OD for 12 weeks. We can also give the GnRH releasing hormone for 6 months, but when we are going to give this, we will tell the patient regarding the side effect or the risk associated with it, that is the hypoestrogenic effect and the risk of the osteoporosis. Then in the invasive management, we have an option of the uterine artery embolization, sclerotherapy, and the sclerotherapy. Previously, they were using the internal iliac artery ligation and the uterine artery ligation, but they have seen that it is associated with high rate of the recurrence. So we can go for the uterine artery embolization by keeping in mind that patient has the fertility wishes, and it is a daycare procedure, but we will tell the patient that it is an expensive procedure, and also it is only available in certain facilities.
Right.
And the risk, also tell the risk to the patient that there is a risk of the massive bleeding during the procedure, also the infection and post embolization syndrome and the ischemia. After the treatment, we will call the patient first 2 weekly, and then after 2 months, and on each visit we will inquire the patient regarding the history, and also the if on the medical treatment, compliance with the treatment, and the side effect related to the treatment. And we can also go to see the whether the lesion is regressing or not. We can also do the ultrasound, and in the end, the only management definitive is the hysterectomy. And we will also counsel the patient that on whether we are using the conservative or the invasive treatment, it will not affect the fertility of the patient. She can go, she can get pregnant, but can also tell the risk regarding the associated with the pregnancy.
Very good. Okay, tell me, what are the types of AV malformation?
Yes, madam. The type of the AV malformation, it can be congenital, it can be iatrogenic, or gestational trophoblastic disease related AV malformation, or then is the enhanced myometrial vascularity and the subinvolution of the uterus.
All of these iatrogenic, GTD acquired, or enhanced myometrial, they are grouped together under acquired malformation.
Yes, acquired, and one is only the congenital.
Okay, what is the difference between them? How can you differentiate between them?